Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Dead Meat, the kill count for the 1985 movie Return of the Living Dead. Let's hop in and check it out.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at...
How you doing, James A. Janice? You doing well?
The Return of the Living Dead, released in 1985. Rotterdam, as I sometimes call it, is a zombie flick with attitude, and jokes, and boobs. Ha, trash rules. It's kind of the unofficial other sequel to Night of the Living Dead, a cousin branch to Romero's Of the Dead series. The OG zombie flick was co-written by George Romero and John Russo, who parted ways after that film's release. Romero went off and made Dawn of the Dead, while Russo wrote Return of the Living Dead. But his investor Tom Fox didn't like Russo's early drafts, so he had the script rewritten by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote frickin' Alien. Now, Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite
I think back that damn
horror movies. It fucking rules. And Russo and O'Bannon knew that, which is why they decided to make their movie so drastically different. Instead of a reflective piece about the end of society, Return is a punk rock horror comedy with zombies that are basically unstoppable. Also, they eat brains. Oh yeah, also they talk. A lot of the punk influence came directly from O'Bannon.
I was tired of seeing punks portrayed in movies and television as villains. I knew punks. They were the nicest people in the world.
He was eventually hired to direct the film, his first time doing so. That led to a grueling production full of personality clashes and a fired effects artist.
It wasn't really a film production, it was a war zone.
Most of the on-set problems stemmed from the low budget and O'Bannon's temperamental behavior.
I didn't feel that Dan was prepared. Quite frankly, I thought that he didn't know his ass about making movies.
You will see quite the production tale from hell in this kill count. Despite all that, Return of the Living Dead kicks ass. It balances its tone perfectly, with graphic horror and hilarious comedy. It's got such a rebellious feel, like you should be watching it at a midnight drive-in with a bunch of beers. The cast is great, with one unfortunate exception, playing such a weird group of characters. There's the punks, obviously, but also a small business owner and his two employees, and their very pale mortician friend. As a kid, I was always more interested in the punks. And no, not just because of trash.
Let's get some light over here.
That's what they trash.
But now I love the adult characters just as much or more, since they're played by a trio of terrific character actors. The Return of the Living Dead is an excellent cult classic that I worry may be slipping in recognition. I just don't hear people talk about it as much as I do other older properties. But they should. With its soundtrack and aesthetic, it's a fun depiction of 80s counterculture. Also, the movie's got a ton of kills. I mean it. There are a lot. And zombies, who are among the genre's most indestructible. Let's see how many people... Wait, do you hear that? Oh my god. Zombie brand manager Ben! You'll never take my brains!
Whoa, no! Wait, what?
Brad Summer! Oh, Brad Summer. Oh, you want music? Oh, that we can help. Thanks to today's sponsor, Raycon! How many living won't return from the dead and get to the kills?
First question that comes to mind, is he counting living and the dead that are killed? Oh, no, wait, the zombies can't be killed for some reason. Never mind, I just answered my own question.
The movie begins with an assertion. This shit all really happened for reals. You need a medical supplies and medical warehouse owned by Bert. Even though it's 4th of July weekend, two of his employees are staying late. Veteran Frank and brand new youth hire Freddy. Frank teaches Freddy how to sort...
Oh, and that's why James A. Janice is dressed like that. Ha, now it makes sense.
Bastard skellies and how to tuck them in at night. Freddy's jazzed. This place is sick. They've even got split dogs.
Oh, we get a lot of orders for split dogs.
That's really rad.
Yeah.
Kind of gross.
Don't fool around, you'll learn.
They've also got fresh cadavers that they sell to schools and the Sawyer families. I won't put this guy on the count, though. I always go back and forth on if morgue bodies count. These two are just hanging out after hours when Frank starts telling Freddy about the weirdest thing they have in the warehouse.
Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah. That's the one where the corpses start eating the people, right?
According to him, it was based on a real incident where dead bodies came back to life after a chemical spill.
What chemical?
2,4,5-trioxin, it's called. And the Darrow Chemical Company was trying to develop it for the Army.
He says Night of the Living Dead had to change some details, but swear to God, kid, it really happened. James Karen eats this scene, no crows.
And they shipped those bodies here.
Karen was a Broadway and television actor who you probably know as the real estate guy in Poltergeist. The son of a bitch who moved the cemetery but left the bodies. He only moved the headstones!
Oh.
He's so good
Oh,
at
that's a
Frank,
classic.
the guy who's comfortable at work, but who becomes a wimp when shit hits the fan. Karen was one of the first people cast, back when Toby Hooper was attached to direct.
I slept with everybody to get the role. I wanted it so badly. Everybody.
Then a financing problem delayed production, so Hooper jumped ship and directed Life Force instead. Freddy is played by
What
Tom Matthews, a couple of years before he was Tommy Jarvis in Friday 6. A very different
Hey,
character.
cool.
I love the bright-eyed himbo energy he brings to Freddy. Matthews actually pierced his ear before he auditioned to help him get the role.
I didn't know
Ow.
you could have done it fake.
Hilariously, this zombie outbreak is caused by a middle-aged man wanting to impress his new 20-year-old coworker.
Wanna see?
It works, and Freddy follows Mr. Pathmark downstairs in a shot that feels like a direct homage to Night of the Living Dead. But instead of a
Oh,
mama
most
murdering
definitely.
zombie girl, they find a metal barrel with an ugly corpse inside. Better keep that thing in good condition. Not
Up and then it
Kick-ass
goes.
synth music kicks in for the opening credits and a reanimating title card. Frank and Freddy take a noxious nap as the gas spills out and leaks into the ventilation, bringing life to the cadaver hanging out upstairs.
Oh,
Next
damn.
to the warehouse
How'd
is
you
an
do
old
that?
graveyard, which is where a bunch of punks are gonna hang out for a while. They're Freddy's friends, and they're picking him up to party. While they wait for him to clock out, they get to trespassing and pre-gaming. The cemetery was played by an olive grove in Sylmar, California. To dress it,
Oh,
they
that's
rented
useful.
every tombstone available from Universal and supplemented those with original creations. The whole movie was filmed in Southern California, even though it takes place in Louisville, Kentucky.
I mean, were there punkers in Louisville anyway? Come on.
You can even see parts of downtown LA skyline in an earlier scene. Frank and Freddy come to a little later
Yeah.
and find the barrel empty and their lungs completely fucked. They are just coughing
Oh,
up a
damn.
storm, and the place stinks too.
Yeah, I better spray some deodorant around here.
Yeah, good
That
call,
ain't
man.
gonna
Just
walk.
add a few more chemicals there. Gonna take more than Axe body spray to fix their split dog that's suddenly living again, whining and wagging its half a tail. Even worse, they hear
Oh,
that the
no.
cadaver they're storing is alive again too, as are those butterflies. Oh no! Beware the mighty monarch! They realize this is all because of the gas
James, this isn't the Venzel brothers.
Frank leaked out.
Stupid asshole! Watch your tongue, boy, if you like this job! Like this job!
Frank is a loyal employee, so instead of calling the cops, he calls the boss.
Bert, Frank, we have a little problem.
Bert gets there and tears
Oh,
them a new
no.
one now that he's liable to be sued into oblivion. He doesn't want to deal with the chemical company or the government, so what if they just destroy the evidence and stay hush-hush about it? Here, Frank, kill this zombie with an axe.
I don't think I can do this, Bert!
Well, you damn well better. You got us into
Just a dead body.
Oh, Jesus!
The boss stands clear as he sends his employees into danger, but that yellow bastard runs out and proves to be more of a handful than
Oh.
he expected. Bert sinks a pickaxe into the brain to kill it, just like in Night of the Living Dead. But this zombie doesn't stop screaming and wriggling even after they sever his head with a
Oh.
freaking hacksaw. Now it's just a headless Homer running around confused. Killing the brain
Why is
must
it
have been one
yellow?
of the details the movie changed.
It worked in the movie! Well, it ain't working now, Frank. In the movie line?
Russo specifically didn't want Return to undercut Romero's then upcoming Day of the Dead. He planned to release it nowhere near the same day, but due to delays and setbacks, Return came out less than a month after Day. Since Return had a bigger advertising campaign and a more modern rock and roll tone, it wound up dominating Romero's film at the box office. Romero wasn't thrilled, and there was some legal action, but the MPAA ruled against him. Russo says he and Romero remained friends throughout the dispute. Bert decides they'll take the body
happens,
next
I'm
door
sorry.
to Ernie Kaltenbrunner.
Who's Ernie Kaltenbrunner?
He's their mortician friend who has a crematorium. While they carry the body there, they're seen by Fred's very intelligent friends.
Nope, that is not Freddy.
How would you know?
Because why would Freddy be going into a mortuary?
There are a bunch of punks in the friend group, but some of them stand out more than others. First and foremost, there's Trash, played by B-horror mainstay Linnea Quigley, who we've seen in Silent Night, Deadly Night, and kinda in Nightmare
Classic.
4. She was also
Oh.
a standout participant in the second Horror Royal Rumble.
Hey,
Quigley
classic.
often got nude in her 80s horror appearances, and this is where she gets the nudist.
Let's get some light over here. Trash is taking off her clothes again.
She proceeds to be mostly naked for the rest of the film. That level
Oh,
of exposure
why?
ends up
Why?
being comedic, especially since Trash is hilariously deadpan.
Man, what a hideous, ugly place. I like it. It's a statement.
She's obsessed with death, even more than all of you sick
No, you are right. That voice is completely deadpanned.
fucks. The mere talk of death sends her into the throes of sexual hysteria.
Do you ever wonder about all the different ways of dying? You know, violently?
I mean,
Eh,
I do,
not
yeah.
really.
It's Got him a job. In this infamous scene, Trash dances to Tonight We'll Make Love Until We Die by SSQ. Though on set, quickly improvised the dance with no choreography to Nasty Girl by Vanity 6. She initially did the scene completely naked, but when a producer said they couldn't show pubic hair, she was forced to shave.
I was so embarrassed I could have died.
The producer then said it was worse without the hair since you could see, everything. So makeup effects artist Bill Munns had to make a prosthetic privacy patch that essentially turned her into a Barbie doll down there.
I had underwear on and they just poured the alginate in my underwear and then just pulled it off.
Not the best experience
What
for
the
Quigley, who
hell?
also got dizzy from the toxic fumes coming off the road flares. Another notable punk is Spider, a huge fan of Trash's flare-lit striptease. He's played by Miguel A. Nunez Jr., who frankly doesn't get enough respect. This was his first big role, and he really needed it.
I was homeless when I first got to California, so I was still living in the streets when I had this job. They didn't even know that. Nobody in the cast even knew this.
Right after this, he filmed Friday 5, where he laid down them poopin' bars.
Oh yeah!
Ooh, baby. He was also in Leprechaun 4 in Space and the Scooby-Doo movie. Then there's Suicide.
Hey!
Spooky motherfucker. He's played by Mark
He was
Venturini, who
everywhere.
joined Nunez in Friday 5 as the axe-wielding Vic, killer of candy bars. He gives Suicide
Aw.
an inch more depth than just a standard scary dude.
I mean, I got something to say, you know? What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Everyone
is
said
awesome.
Venturini was a real nice guy on set, so it was extra sad when he died of leukemia shortly after production. The only punk it sucks to have
Now
here
it's
is
sad.
Scuzz, because he's played by Brian Peck, who, if you watch that Nickelodeon documentary, you'll be familiar with. He unfortunately did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but his character's pretty minimal, so I'll mostly ignore his existence. Fuck that scuzzbag.
That's fine.
Bert gets to Ernie's and spooks him, so Ernie pulls a gun on Bert.
Whoa!
Seen that on Sesame Street, have ya? Bert asks the Peter Lorre looking corn.
Dude just straight up pulled a gun. What the
help them
hell?
dispose of some weasels. Yes, rabid weasels. Can they burn them up in your crematorium, please?
You just can't burn animals alive. It's just too hideous, isn't it? At least let me kill them first. Take them out in the parking lot and put them out of their misery.
I love how Don Calfa seamlessly jumps into this cast and matches their energy. He's probably best known as the bumbling hitman in Weekend at Bernie's. He learns that those ain't weasels and has some stern words for his old friend.
Frankly, Bert, I think you acted precipitously in cutting up the corpse.
Yeah, you may be right. I don't know, but I did it.
Rounding out the older cast is Clu Gulager as Bert, who we saw as the pissed off dad in Nightmare 2. Before doing horror
I'm
films,
loving
he acted
this.
in Western TV shows, where he was a total honk. Dude lived into his 90s, with his final role in Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Gulager was the
Hey.
last actor cast, and missed the 2 weeks of rehearsals where everyone else got to know each other and figure out the movie's tone. As such, he didn't always really
it's
get
good.
what
It's
was
fine.
going on, or what the other actors were doing.
He and I didn't always get along together, although we do now.
He also clashed a lot with director Dan O'Bannon, which reportedly
Oh, really?
got physical at one point. Gulager
Oh,
came to
deal.
love the movie after he saw the finished product and spoke highly of it for the rest of his life.
Am I proud of it? You bet I am.
They load the garbage bags full of Simpson parts and split dogs into the incinerator, then burn those bad boys up. I guess I can finally count that cadaver as dead. Ain't no coming back from this. The only problem is, it turns him into ash.
Okay, so boning the body is the only way to kill the body. Got it.
Which billows out of the smokestack and fills the night sky. The ashes
Ah,
either
crap.
become or imbue with rain clouds, which then open up and drench everything below them. The toxin-filled water saturates the graveyard full of dead bodies and soaks the punks, who have to hightail it back to their car. It makes their skin burn. Aw, poor trash. Earlier, Freddy's girlfriend Tina left the other punks to check if he was done with his shift. Now she lets herself into the office to get out of the rain and wanders into the basement looking for him. She sees the barrel that started it all, empty of its body. Say, where'd that body go anyway? Oh, there it is.
Climb out as well.
And thus the stereotype of a zombie saying brains was born. Yeah, this movie is where that originated. This
Really?
goopy motherfucker is Tarman,
Okay.
and he's almost got
Okay.
Tina when the other punks arrive. Suicide takes the lead to save her, but it gets him killed by homicide when Tarman bites into his skull and
Oh,
feasts upon his
jeez.
brains. But Tarman's been barreled away for a while, so he's still hungry. Tarman originally had a different voice that got pitched down in home video releases. His suit was designed by production designer Bill Stout, built by effects artist Bill Munns, and worn by Alan Troutman, a puppeteer and actor. He stood
Oh,
6'2", but only weighed 150 pounds, giving him a slender frame that they built prosthetics on top of. He wore
Oh,
black
that's actually
leotards,
perfect
which
then.
Munns attached polyurethane bones to. For the top layer of melting flesh, hot melted vinyl was poured onto sheets of aluminum foil, giving it more weight than latex takes her phone. These sections were then built up onto the bodysuit, drip by drip. Finally, before each take, they'd make him extra slimy with handfuls of what they called super goo. The punks lock Tarman in the basement and flee the warehouse, then run into the graveyard where they see the effects of the rain. Halfway into this movie, the dead are ready to roll.
Finally.
Yeah,
Wait, how
cue
does
the
that
rock
have
and the chaos. Zombies emerge aplenty from the muddy earth as the characters split up and flee. Trash, who's Donald Duck in it, gets left behind in a puddle, then is overcome by a swarm of zombies who dine on her in a pileup. Casting director Stanzi Stokes knew quickly from casting her in Silent Night Deadly Night, so she called her to play Trash after the original actress got pregnant and dropped out.
I was glad she got pregnant, man.
Everyone on set seemed to like her, whether it was for her acting ability.
She didn't give a shit about all of that morality crap. She's an actress, one of the best.
An actress?
Or for, other reasons.
Some of my fondest memories.
Could be both.
Was Linnea titties. She had like perfect titties. They were like two pyramids.
Damn it, man. Someone needs to get bombed. Bert and Ernie finished C
Pyramids.
for cremating, but things ain't looking
Oh,
good for Freddie
Lord.
and Frank. They're getting sicker by the minute thanks to breathing all that toxin, so they call for paramedics who don't like what they see. They're not getting any signs of life. No pulse, no blood pressure, no heartbeat.
Technically, you're not alive.
Wait, are you saying I should add them to the count?
Look, obviously I didn't mean you were really dead. Dead people don't move around and talk.
Yeah, agree to disagree on that point, but...
So somehow those two have become, well, undead living deads?
I guess I'll hold off for now, but I'll be watching you two. Spider, Tina, and Scuzz get across the graveyard to Ernie's place. He lets them in with his usual hospitality, waving a gun in their face. Ernie's, yeah, he's probably a Nazi. I mean, he's not old enough to have been a Nazi, but he's definitely got sympathies. There's a picture of Ava Braun in his office, and it's not accidental when he uses a German phrase at one point.
It's coming down like einen betrunkenen Soldat.
Also, his full
what does
name
that
is
mean?
Ernie Kaltenbrunner.
Which is almost identical to Ernst Kaltenbrunner, an SS leader and Holocaust architect who was executed after the war.
Oh,
I don't really
God.
know why they did this, and it's pretty fucking dark that his character works with an oven. The paramedics get back to their ambulance, where they're introduced to the zombie
Bad
mess.
joke.
One of them is pulled out of the front seat and killed, while the other one is set upon by a slimy horde that kind of just bounces him around. Ernie finds their abandoned vehicle and a
Oh,
legless
crap.
zombie as he feasts on one of their heads. He shoots at it, but legless or not, these zombies just don't stop, and it chases him back inside with
Look at
Bert,
that.
Frank, and the punks who arrive. That doesn't include Chuck and Casey, who got separated and fall back to the medical warehouse. They find the office and start to call the police. Great idea.
Oh,
Never mind.
shit!
Abort! They start barricading their location. The zombie movie's staple. It's so popular, the other characters are doing it over at Ernie's. It's a fun little sequence set to a surf
It's a
rock
double-double.
song by the Cramps. The movie's soundtrack is awesome, full of punk and surf rock songs by a bunch of legit artists from the scene. It lends a lot of credibility to the movie's punk aesthetics, but it came about because of producers and music supervisors, not director O'Bannon.
I didn't give a rat's ass about some fucking record album. I was making a movie.
Outside, we learned that the zombies are
Movie.
verbal enough to order DoorDash.
Come in discuss. Send more paramedics.
Inside, the punks forced Bert to explain why
Wait a minute, that can't be. Last week, when we were seeing clips of this, there was a zombie that said, "Send more cops." Is that a different scene, or not? I don't know.
Freddy is looking paler than Ernie there. His joints are even stiffening up due to rigor mortis. Man, for such a funny movie, it
that's
is
kinda hot.
miserable to watch Freddy and Frank succumb to their inevitable deaths. They're both such scared little babies. The movie's special effects were originally handled by Bill Munns, who created Tarman and used a real skeleton for the one that popped out of the grave, animating its head and jaw with cables run through its spinal column.
That
But
was
his
a
efforts
real
left O'Bannon and
skeleton?
production designer Stout disappointed.
To this day, I cringe every time I see that first corpse pop up out of the ground.
They also hated Munns' background zombies.
With the zombies that Munns produced, he just didn't put enough thought into them.
His work on the Yellow Cadaver was the last straw.
The yellow zombie was pretty much a disaster right from the start.
Munns was fired 3
Why
weeks
was it
into
yellow?
their 6-week shoot and replaced by Kenny Myers, who redid or updated many effects, like adding more articulation to the Tarman mask. Most of Myers' work was used for close-ups filmed during post-production. He handled the headless Yellow Cadaver, replacing the very sad version Munns made.
To think that the guy thought it could pass on film, it blew both our minds.
They did have to
would
use
not.
Munz's original head for the scene where he gets stabbed with the axe. To be fair to Munz, O'Bannon kept changing what he wanted and was constantly yelling on set. Like, they originally planned to use masks for the zombies, but they looked shitty, so they had to switch to makeup effects, which takes a lot longer to do.
Dan did not get what he wanted.
Takes longer but looks better.
Because of a budget constraint. I have no doubt in his mind he somehow imagined that it's my fault that I can't work this miracle.
This was a recurring complaint. For instance, O'Bannon originally wanted real punks hired for the cast, but they wound up going with non-punk actors who then had to be properly styled.
I had no background whatsoever in doing the particular punk's hairstyling.
Munz's failures are probably a combination of skill and not having enough money or time to do the job.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
fired.
totally
That's not my
admits.
best work. Yeah,
Always
I've had
is.
a lot of criticism on it.
Even his replacement, Kenny Myers, admits that he was given an impossible task.
For years, I used to slam Bill Munz over this. And in reality, that isn't fair.
The second pair of paramedics arrive and swiftly fall to the trap laid by these
Oh,
hungry
no.
zombies. What a tackle. They start breaking through the boards to get inside, and one of them grabs Scuzz. He's bitten in the head and spews blood from his scuzzy skull,
Oh.
killing him pretty instantly. Lucky us. The others pull the upper half of the bitey corpse inside. Ernie wants to tie her down and examine her. Yeah, he would. To create the half corpse, Kenny Myers hired then 20-year-old Tony Gardner, who of course would go on
Hey.
to do Chucky effects from Seed all the way to today. First, Gardner created
Oh, wow.
the split
He's
dog in
everywhere.
6 days using a cable system and fishing lines. He wasn't totally pleased with the effect, but he was happy with the butterflies, which were done with a simple fan.
It cost a nickel and a half, and it was just wonderful.
For the bisected
Nickel
zombie,
and a
Gardner
half.
created a rod puppet that took 5 people to operate. It was this effect that impressed the senior crew members and O'Bannon. Out of all the interviews I watched, it seems like Gardner maybe had the best time on set. By speaking with the zombie, the humans learn that they have a reason for wanting to eat brains. It gives them endorphins that makes the pain go away.
The pain of being dead. I can feel myself rot.
Oh man, must suck to come back from the dead then. Unless you're trash,
Oh.
who reanimates looking fine and rocking that undead look. This homeless guy is all like wood, but trash wouldn't, so she bites him in the head and kills him.
Well, damn.
Play D&D online for free? We've got that. Easily plan your next session from anywhere with Roll20.
Zombies by the graveyard
Well, damn.
are getting Meals on Wheels since a couple of cops arrive to see what's going on.
Oh,
Looks
hey,
like
here
a
we go.
losing head. Yes. They're overwhelmed by the undead who take them to the ground and treat them like an appetizer.
Send more cops.
Against Tina's wishes, the screaming sickies are carried into the chapel for quarantine. She decides to stay with Freddy even as they lock the doors, and is holding him as he apparently passes away. At least it seems like he does, so I'll count him now. After all, when he starts talking again, he's sounding a little different.
Live.
He's a zombie now, which means he's eligible for a zombie beating. Take it away, boys. They splash him in the face with acid and carry Tina back to the
jeez.
embalming room. Bert and Spider make a break for the police car using their asymmetrical multiplayer game weapons. It works, but the car is lousy with zombies, so they have to drive away.
They left us!
But that's not what Ernie's gonna do. He helps Tina climb
Oh,
into the
hey,
attic
here you
and
go.
follows her inside as a blind Freddy zombie bursts in hungry for brains. I guess it's supposed to
Oh,
be
that
ironic
explains
that
the
Ernie
eyes.
winds up hiding in the attic. It's a terrifying situation for Tina, with zombie Freddy taunting her from below.
You've got to let me eat your
What you doing with that gun, Ernie? Tina's actress
Oh,
Beverly
dude.
Randolph had quite the effect on Tom Matthews.
She was just so beautiful to look at. I was just shaking in my boots.
Unfortunately, she had a rough start working with
Weasel?
director O'Bannon. She went to his house to do line readings and found a gun on the table and porn playing on the TV. Things didn't get better on set.
Dan O'Bannon's directing style was frightening for me.
O'Bannon made her do a ton of takes falling in the mud, possibly just to mess with her, and lied about there being a breakaway step on the basement stairway. She legit hurt herself falling through it because she didn't know it would happen. She didn't mind when Clu Gulliger almost fought him.
He was my hero that day because it's something I wanted to do so badly. And I couldn't. I was 19 and I had to keep my mouth shut and just do my job.
O'Bannon wasn't
Shit
exactly
happens.
popular on set.
He wasn't always socially sensitive to the way he should be handling both the crew and the actors.
I don't like what I hear about his directing style, but he was reflective about it in an interview he did before he passed away.
So Return for
That's
me
good, at
was
least.
a real education in how not to direct a movie. how not to manage other people.
In it, he said his behavior on set was a personal failing, and that there weren't any excuses for it. He's honest and vulnerable in it, and it made me appreciate him as a flawed human being. Amidst the chaos, Frank has also finally died to all that toxin in his lungs. But unlike Freddy, he doesn't want to eat brains. His humanity is strong enough to avoid that temptation. Instead, he leaves his wedding ring behind, prays for forgiveness, then fulfills some earlier foreshadowing about the incinerator.
I can operate that goddamn thing.
To avoid the fate of becoming a zombie, Frank is burned to ashes of his own free will. Actor James Karen came up with his character's death
honestly, mad respect.
Himself, mostly as a way to avoid filming scenes in the rain and undergoing more zombie makeup. Burt drives the police car out of the graveyard, but it's no good. The whole fucking Thriller music video cast is there to stop him. They cause him to crash into the side of the medical warehouse, forcing them to abandon the vehicle and get inside with Chuck and Casey on. Oh yeah, they're kind of in this movie. They decide the phone in the basement is their best bet to call for help, but the basement's where Tarman lives. Burt says he'll handle him like a killer clown.
You'll knock his goddamn block off.
And true to his word, that's exactly what he does.
Damn,
Still,
there it
cops
goes.
get to the graveyard, but man, these zombies are smart enough to put on performances. It leads to another trap that gets all 10 new officers attacked and killed. Sucks to be the ground forces. Way better to be the chopper guy here. Burt calls the police and talks to the captain in charge of the blockade happening down the road. He begs for an evacuation, but it's too late. Trash and her music video zombies are here. They swarm and kill the cops. 15 of them total by my count. That includes the captain, who was on the phone with Burt. Trash takes care of him himself. Burt finally decides to call the number on the side of the barrel and gets patched through to Colonel Glover in San Diego. He's played by Jonathan Terry, who played Drunk Guy Starker in Halloween 3. We saw this colonel in an earlier scene that showed how he lived his life waiting for a call about the barrels, available 24/7. That means he's prepared when he's woken up in the middle of the night. He talks to Burt and gets all the info he needs for their contingency plan, which you may not be surprised to learn is an artillery strike. He calls it into an artillery guy stationed in Kentucky who follows orders and fires off the guns.
Hey, listen. You hear anything?
The explosions hit Louisville at 5 in the morning, but there's no way that we can count something like that, right?
Less than 4,000 dead, General.
Wait, what the fuck does less than 4,000 mean? Come on, guys, I'm trying to run a show here. I guess I'll add 3,999 to the count, since it's technically less than 4,000. That includes everyone within 20 square blocks of the explosion. Pretty much all the characters and zombies seen throughout the film. This explosive climax was handled by VFX supervisor Gene Warren Jr., whose work we just saw in The Terminator. In fact, for this movie's lightning, Warren reused footage he had of a Tesla coil that was originally filmed for Arnold's Naked Touchdown. To bomb a whole town, they set up fake houses that were blown apart with an air cannon. It was detonated with the same firing device Warren used to blow up the tanker truck in Terminator. The movie ends with an indication that this zombie problem's only just begun. The strike has caused more acid rain that's falling into cemeteries.
And that's how it ends.
I love how the credits is just a montage of some of the movie's funniest moments. How many people became brain food for these zombies? Let's find out and get to the... What do you say? Doing what we can with this, we counted 4,038 kills in the Return of the Living Dead. That included 40 male humans, 3 female humans, 79 male zombies, 29 female zombies, 34 unknown zombies, and I don't know, man, however many else died in that artillery strike. Yeah, I'm not sure a pie chart's very useful.
idea.
Sorry. With a runtime of 91 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 1.35 seconds. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to Suicide, who died like a hero. I like the close-up insert that Kenny Myers added. It's good gore. Dog Machete for lamest kill will go to Trash, since it seems like the lightest of all the zombie swarm kills. And that's it. The Return of the Living Dead came out in 1985 and was followed by several sequels. Part 2 is more of a comedy that I personally don't really care for. Part 3 is a Brian Usna film that's apparently a romance horror flick. And then they made 2 back-to-back sequels in 2005. Yeah, I'm sure those are real good. Next week we're switching from zombies to a ghost. The ghost with the most. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Cam.
Alright everyone, well before we move on to see what will be on for next week, let's go ahead and just give all our thoughts on this movie. Return of the Living Dead, I'll give it 2.5 thumbs up. No, 2.5 undead thumbs up. Not really the best, but a pretty decent horror movie for the time and genre it came from. while the sequels that came after it may have not been needed or even worth it, they still happened. Now, let's see what's going to be on for next week's kill count.
Next kill count.
Alright.
Beetlejuice.
Kids.
Hell yes.
Story about the Maitlands, huh? What a disgustingly happily married couple. They just won't let death do them part.
There's a word for people in our situation. Ghosts.
But hey, look at this. A rich city family is moving into their haunted home sweet home.
Ugh. Deliver me from L.L. Bean.
Now these schmucks are gonna try to scare him out of there with, oh, are you kidding me? Harry Belafonte music and shrimp? Oh boy, you guys are really a couple of spooksters, aren't you? What they need is a true professional.
Yes.
A ghost with
Beetlejuice,
the most.
Beetlejuice!
The one, the only Beetlejuice.
Don't even say his name.
Ah, come on, you gotta work with me here. I'm just trying to make a damn kill count. Yeah, whatever. This week, go ahead and make my millennium. By watching the Tim Burton
I love
classic.
this movie.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Say it again, Sam.
Beetlejuice.
Third time's the charm.
One more time.
Drink?
You know what? Close enough. Then, don't forget to take a number while you wait for the kill count. Only on Dead.
How many people actually even die in that movie?
Showtime.
Beetlejuice.
I guess we're gonna find out. Well, alright everyone, that's gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.